Good morning, yoga class. This is Mrs. Brown, and this is our first practice session with doing, sorry, I'm using my computer, so it's a little less mobile. We'll just put it that way. So I'm going to go through the outline first, and then I'm going to do a sample practice for you with twists. So I'm going to stand up and show you the poster that I have for your assignment. I'll have this typed up. So sorry, I'm trying to get how to do this. First of all, setting up your own practice. Number one, how will you be, in quotes, to breathe? So we've done laying down on our back. We've done sitting. You could even do mountain pose standing. And I'm going to do a different one. I'm going to do 3 different samples over the next 2 weeks so that you can see some examples of what to do. Number 2, question or thought for your intention. So today, my intention or thought is going to be one thing that I am grateful for. And so I'll share that when we get to that point, and you can fill in your own. The third part of the assignment is going to be 10 poses, at least 6 within your theme. So you're going to need to pick a theme. Today, I am going to be doing twists. We'll be doing hips. And we'll be doing balancing too. And so we'll be going over that. And some examples listed here are, hopefully you can see all those, balance, twists, hips, shoulders, arm balancing. That'd be like headstands, handstands, crow pose, all that stuff, side crow. Chest opening, inversions, core strength. There could be a ton more you can find out. And you can get some samples of some examples online too to help you out. And then the fourth thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to our breathing pose so that we can refocus our energy and our attention. And then the last thing is that we're going to refocus or reflect on our intention. Okay, and see if maybe that's changed, or if we want to go back to it, or if we want to change it a little bit. So what I'm going to do, and just if you didn't for some reason do Monday video, this is my dance studio, and see my area over there for all my junk. It's my junk drawer. And then the windows that go outside, a reclining little reading nook over in the corner behind me with a drum set and the mirrors. So I'm going to set you up on that chair right there in the front so that you can see me. And I'll have my notes next to me. And so hopefully that will be a good angle. Okay. So today we're going to start and I'll show you my notes afterwards so that you can kind of get an idea of what I did today and how I planned it out, and how you'll need to write a plan on Friday. Okay. So go ahead and sit down in a cross-legged position. Set your hands on your knees, and let's roll our shoulder blades back and maybe move our body around so that the weight of our body, we can get all the way, maybe moving a little bit of the flesh out of the way so that we can sit in our sit bones. I want you to roll your shoulder blades back. Go ahead and drop your head slightly down towards the floor. And imagine that your body, we've talked about this imagery before, is a tree with the bottom of your sit bones becoming roots that go into the floor. And your spine, a flexible tree branch. When trees have wind that comes around, they're able to move and be flexible with the wind. Sometimes the little edges are the parts that break off in a windstorm, but usually if we have strong roots and it's a tree with deep roots, it's going to stay settled. So let's pretend to have that imagery that we're at one of the really strong trees that you can envision those roots going out in all directions in that soft earth and really creating a nice base for ourselves. And place your hands on your knees. And then before we take our first breath in, just notice if you're holding your belly in. And if you are, go ahead and soften your belly a bit and take a soft breath in. And a soft breath out. Let's do that 2 more times. Filling all up to your collarbones. All the way down, letting the shoulders relax down when you breathe out. And 1 more. And let it release. And before we come up with your eyes or your chin, our intention for the day is going to be gratitude. We have a lot of things in our life right now that are difficult, but we also have a lot of things to be grateful for. Maybe it's that you have breakfast. Maybe it's that you have a comfortable bed at night. For me, mine is that I am here in my self-isolation with my husband, who provides me with a lot of love, including love that's good food. So he is the food preparer in our family, and I always feel loved and satisfied after I have a meal. So I'm grateful for that. Take a soft breath in. Lift up your eyes. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the home practice. And today I chose twists as your focus. So as I go through my notes, I'm going to be talking about each of the ones that are a twist focus. And in your practice, your self-practice that you're going to create, you have to have 10 poses, and you want to try to have them have a flow to them. So you don't want it to, you can have a little bit, but you don't want to go like seated pose to fully standing to fully seated unless it's in a flow that makes sense. So I tried to do that in the poses that I have. And only 6 out of 10 of your poses need to be within your theme. Okay, so we'll talk through those. I'm gonna check the time on the clock just because I don't want to go over too much. And we're at 6 minutes, so we're good. Okay. All right, this time when you come back and crisscross your ankles, crisscross the opposite leg over the top. And let's take one arm across the midline of your body and take a twist. So this is our first pose, is seated twist. Take a soft breath in and a soft breath out. And then release that and go to the other side. And we're going to switch our feet again on this one too. And most of these poses, if you're in my yoga class, you're already familiar with these. I don't think I'm going to be having this with anybody else, but just in case. Oops, we forgot to switch our feet. That's okay. We'll do 2 times on either side, and then we'll just do once with the switch legs. And switch. And this next time we're going to do something a little different anyway. Sit back, switch your feet. Take your front hand across that pose, twist, and this time I want you to use your knee as leverage, and I want you to lift back and twist at the same time. So you might feel it in a little bit different place. I even feel it up in my neck on one side. And then we're going to come down through the middle, grabbing our knee with our hand, using our back hand as support, and using our knee as leverage, and we're going to lift back. Maybe you can find in that spot in your neck or your spine that it feels really good. Okay, so that's pose number 1, sitting twist. The next one we're going to do is thread the needle, which we've done before. So we're going to move to our hands and our knees, and here I'm going to show it from the side on my videos. Let me bring my notes with me. And on your hands and your knees, you're going to lift one hand up to the side, lace your hands through, threading the needle. This should provide you with a nice twist in your spine and maybe a little bit of stretch in your shoulder depending on where you're tight. Take a soft breath in. You can hear my husband talking on F2 his work downstairs, so hopefully you can hear me okay. And let's do the other side. And release it through. So this just counts as one pose because I have to do it on both sides. If you have a pose like garland where we're in a squat with our hands together, you don't have to do it twice. But if you do have one that has one side or the other, you do need to do both sides. And let's come to the middle. The next one we're going to do is a twisting lunge. And then we're going to go into downward dog, which is not a twisting pose, but twisting lunge is. So I'm going to lean back. I'm going to swing one foot forward. It doesn't matter what foot. You just make sure you keep track. And we're going to curl that back toe under and lift the opposite hand up. I'm sorry, you can't see my whole body. So for example, I have my right foot forward. My left hand will be up. This is a twisting pose. And the variations we can do, our hand might, you can't see my hand, but it's straight up towards the ceiling. Straight up towards the ceiling, or we can do a bind behind our back. And my back knee is nice and straight. And then I'm going to look to the ceiling to get even more of that twist. Coming back with your eyes down towards the center, place your hand down. Our transition with our 4th pose is going to be downward dog. So this is not one of the twisting poses, and I'll go over that at the end. Take a couple soft breaths here, and then we're going to go to the other side. Let's start how we did before. Set your knees down, tilt your body away from your leg, and swing that front leg around. So now we're on the opposite side. This time I have my left foot forward. It can be your right foot. Curl your back toe under and lift your opposite hand to the ceiling. This is twisting lunge, my third pose, and then we'll go into downward dog, which is not my twisting pose after this. My arm is up to the sky. My head is looking up. If you'd like to do a bind, you can bring your hand behind your back. Take a soft breath in. Sometimes when you're twisting, it's hard to do that. And eyes go down first, hand goes second, and let's go into downward dog. I'm going to walk my feet up, and I'm going to have to scoot back, so let me adjust the camera. How are we doing? Oh, it looks pretty good. We're at 11 minutes. This is good. Okay, so the next two we're going to go into is chair, twisting chair. So that could be one of our, oops, sorry, let me move to where you can see my face. We're going to do twisting chair into side crow or side arm balance. So remember, if you can't do the arm balances, you can always just practice transferring your weight forward onto your arms while you still keep your feet on the floor. Okay, so I'm going to do it from, you know what, I think I'm going to do this. I'll do it from this side and then I'll switch and face the other direction when I do it, just so that you can see me. But if you're doing your home practice or self-practice, you don't have to do that, okay? So I'm standing. I'm going to take a soft breath in, and I'm going to go into chair. This by itself is not a twisting pose, but let's pause here, okay? I'm sitting back, my stomach is engaged, my eyes are down. Put your hands pressed together so that we can take this into a twisting pose. I'm going to take my opposite elbow across to my other knee, and I'm going to turn and face the side. This would make it a twisting pose. So I'm twisting chair. And technically, when I'm looking at my notes, I'll go over this in a second. So now we're going to do side crow. So go ahead and have your hands come down to the ground, and you're going to have your elbows go against the side of your knee and your hip. If you're going to do an arm balance, you can go up and over. If you're just practicing your weight transfer, you can do that. I'm trying to take 3 soft breaths. I set my feet down, and let's go ahead and come up to mountain pose. And I had chair written on my notes, but let's have this be one of my non-twisting poses, okay? I had chair pose as my non-twisting, but since we're already doing chair with a twist, I'll just keep that separate. Okay, and I'll rewrite it for you. Standing in mountain pose, taking a soft breath before we go to the other side. Whew. And take a soft breath in, and let's go to chair pose, and then bring those palms together. I didn't switch sides, but hopefully you're okay with me facing the back. And let's create the chair as a twisting chair. So hook that opposite elbow, press the hands together, and use that leverage to try to twist you to the back. 1 breath, 2 breaths, and 3. And go ahead and set those hands down on the ground, elbow to the side of your knee, elbow to the side of your hip. And if you're not doing the side crow, you can just take your weight forward and back as you breathe. If you're going into side crow, you can go into your side crow and try to hold that for 3 breaths. Woo. I got maybe 2 breaths. I'll go back up and do it again. That was fast ones too. I think that's all I have. And let's come up to our pose in between, which is mountain pose, which is a good transition into our next one. I'm going to face you. So the next twisting pose that I have is eagle pose. And I love this one, but I know that it's also a challenge. So remember, we have a couple alternatives. We're going to start with our feet apart. I'm going to lead you through the workup to it, and then we'll go through them. You'll transfer your balancing weight on a soft knee. Taking your foot up and over, you have the option to do kickstand, leg crossed, or foot hooked. The arms, since we're taking this leg over, this arm is going to be on top. So I don't know if the video flips it, so I'll say what I would do if I was teaching. It looks like it's flipping it, that this side is my right side, but if it's your left, just know that you need to do both sides, okay? And we can talk about that afterwards. All right, here we go. So start with your feet apart. Take a soft breath in. Bend your knees softly, transfer your weight over to one foot. Pick up that foot, and again, remember to find that gazing point. So for me, it's gonna be a little bit in front of where my mat is, and I'm gonna hook my foot. Since this leg is on top, this arm is on top for our eagle pose arms. Maybe backs of hands together, whoops, maybe palms together. I'm gonna hold that for 3 breaths. And coming around, under control. And let's shake it out a bit. And before we go to the other side, I do want to talk about, falling out of poses is not a big deal. If you fall out, you just go back into it again. But if you're able to, using control is a different energy use in your body, right? You can feel the difference if you just come out of something with your body and totally flaps it, or if you're able to maintain the energy and let that go. And what I mean energy-wise is not like some idea. It's literally what your muscles are doing so that we're maintaining that calmness. We're not just flexing and then letting the arm go. So it'd be an example like this. So if I was flexing my muscle and I'm holding it, I'm lowering it down and then releasing, as opposed to flexing, boom. That's a totally different feel. So we want to keep our calmness and keep our breath in the same pathway, the same, hopefully breathing in and out nice and consistently. You want to keep that same thing going on. So now that I've talked a lot, let's go to the other side. We're going to do eagle pose, which is a twisting pose. So find your gazing point, take a soft breath in, release, bend your knees, transfer the weight to the other foot, either wrapping, coming around, since this leg's on top, this arm's on top, backs of the hands or palms together. Let's take 3 soft breaths. 1, 2, and 3. I'm trying to come out under control. And then twist a little bit. All right, let me check my notes. Oh, we only have 2 more to go. Eagle is number 9. So the last 2 are, we have 2 more poses and then our breathing exercise that we'll go back to. So let me adjust the camera again. There we go. All right, so we're going to do sitting, legs crossed with a twist. So take one knee, bring it underneath, and bring the other knee across. Then we're going to take the opposite hand, so it's a little similar, but the knees up to the sitting twist that we did before. And we're going to twist all the way to the opposite side. And remember, a variation we did in this is you can stay in the twist and then take your head the other way. So your spine's kind of going. And let's be fancy. Put your hands behind you, and then we're going to switch our legs by rotating our way back and just other side. Ready? Your mark, set, go. It's a fancy trick, right? Remember, you can link your arm, you can hold it with your hand, or maybe even want to try your elbow on the outside of your knee. Any of those options is good. And just because we did it on one side, let's do it on this side. Do a little test and see how it feels to look in the opposite direction. You might like that, or you might not like that. And we have just 1 more to go. So that was our seated twist with our knee up. So the last one we have is reclining, and then we'll come back up to our sitting position for everything. So I'm gonna lay on my back. My arms are gonna be in a T. We've done this one before. Go ahead and walk your feet together. Bring your knees up to your chest and gently let your knees go all the way to the ground. And then look over your shoulder. And while we're here resting, I usually would have us go to Shavasana because I'm having us lay down. But we're going to sit back up to breathe just because that's how the exercise will be when you write it out for your home practice. You have to choose the same one. So you could choose Shavasana for the beginning and the end. Okay? Bring your head first to the center, then one knee, and then the other knee. And let's go to the opposite side. Oh, yeah. I thought it might pop that time. It didn't. Soft breath in. Coming back up to the middle. Knees come up, and because we're going to come to sitting, go ahead and come all the way up. You might notice that I did my reclining pose the very last one, and there's a reason for that. You can feel how your body wants to relax after you've done all the standing and exertion. So we kind of started sitting, went to our knees, went to standing, did some balancing poses, and then went back down. Okay, so we went to sitting with the cross-legged with the knee up, and then the reclining. So it kind of went. You don't have to do that. I just find that it works better for me to be able to relax at the end of class. So let's go back to our breathing. Place your hands this time in your palms and find that same rooted stability that we found at the beginning, and go ahead and drop your head down, and we'll do 3 breaths in and 3 breaths out. That's 1 for me. If you're faster, just stay with me. 2. And 3. Sorry if you can hear my husband. Go ahead and lift your eyes, and we're going to go back to our intention. I want you to take a moment, and you can keep your eyes closed or your head down if you want to do this. Going either back to the thing that you were grateful for, maybe thinking of something different that you are grateful for. And I am grateful for the chance that I get to teach something I love, both yoga and dance, and I love any kind of movement. So I'm grateful that that gets to be part of my job every day. Okay, so we'll pretend that's the end of your practice. Eventually, you are going to be sending me a recording and notes of your home practice, but I want to show you my home practice now. So this is how I had it set up. Sorry, it's hard with this. So we started with the breath and our intention, and then we did seated twists, thread the needle, standing lunge into downward dog, and I wrote on my notes, you don't have to write this, but we repeated it for both sides. Then we did, instead of side crow first, we actually did twisting chair, so this order is a little bit different. So when you start practicing, you might realize you need to change it, just like I did. That number 7, seated chair, should have been number 5. Seated or side crow should have been number 6. And then instead of just regular chair, remember we chose mountain pose for number 7. Okay. And then on number 8, I had eagle. Then on number 9, I had sitting twist. That was with my knee up. Then I had reclining twist. And then I went back to my breath and my intention. Okay. So you're going to be reading an article later this week about setting your own, we'll have an article on setting your own intention, but I think tomorrow's article or the next day is on how to set up a home practice. So that'll be part of your assignment too. So your homework regarding today is you just have to take notes on what we did today, and then that'll be included in your finish up Friday assignments. And then I'll be doing 2 more practices just like this, and going over the notes and going over the outline of how to set up your practice. We'll do those next week. So we'll have moving Mondays. I can't remember if I call it moving out Monday. I can't remember. And then we'll do a practice on probably Tuesday and Wednesday. I can't remember. I'll have to look at the schedule. Anyway, I have hips and arm balances or balancing that we're going to do. So we'll do both of those practices too, and go through the notes so that you can see an example of both of those again. I hope you guys are hanging in there, and I'm making this a couple days before class so that you have it available on your link thinking about you all, and I hope I see you soon in person. Bye.